Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, see them a plan up and a try to put them money pan we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I throw the bank I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen pan the bed. Them one with a fall, we live in pan the edge, I must say true, make this them. We in Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, who drive years. Boom! We in Global TV to the fullest one cup of excellence. See me?
Good morning if you are on the Eastern timeline. If you are on the Greenwich main time, good afternoon from London. How was your weekend? Thank you for joining us. Sorry about my disappearance last night. I just didn't feel up to it. But good morning, and welcome to you all. Let's drug the bent judge this morning. Because Paula Llewellyn has long been given the stick over the Vibes cartel issue. But this morning, let's drug the bent judge. Let's tie a horse this morning to the bent judge. Justice Lennox Campbell. The retired now is to be called Disgrace Justice Lennox Campbell. Some of you would know him as Lennox Campbell. But retired Justice Lennox Campbell, welcome to this morning's drug. Good morning, and welcome. Thank you all for being here. I hope you had a restful, enjoyable, and peaceful weekend. Some of you would have already, in the British Isles here, gone off to Old Master Galangan. Those of you in the Eastern timeline would be waking up contemplating your commute to Old Master Industry. But good morning and welcome to Global Television. Good morning to all my family members. Good morning to my community of parity. Good morning to my moderators. Good morning to my members, my subscribers, my viewers, my followers, my supporters. Good morning to you all and welcome. Natalia Freeman, good morning. Sunshine, good morning and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Agency Driver 5, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon. Deborah Lynn White, good morning, good afternoon. Sharon Robinson, good morning, good afternoon. Perspective Power, good morning, good afternoon. Stacy, good morning, good afternoon. Sasha Lewis, Veteran, Wagwan, good morning, good afternoon. Patricia Matthews, Yvonne Johnson, good morning, good afternoon. Sasha Lewis, Charmaine Carter, good morning, good afternoon. Ro Reed, good morning, good afternoon. Raymond, good morning, good afternoon. David Jervis, a member, a supporter, a moderator. Good morning, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Rosemary Samuels, good morning. Rose East, good morning. Tash, good morning. Izzy Holder, good morning and welcome. Abena Sadoki, good morning and welcome. Millie McBean, good morning and welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. Before I get into the Jamaica side of things, I want to highlight a usual issue for Britain. Diane Abbott, Yvonne Johnson, good morning. Good morning. Diane Abbott is Britain's first black female MP. Millicent Jones, good morning. Britain is a racist society. There's no two ways about that. That cannot be disputed with facts. Colleen Jones, good morning. It be blindfolded and deaf ears to really go on a rant to say, oh, Britain is not a racist country. But since the civil rights movement and all of that, we have been given some docile words, put them to sleep words, contain them words. Georgia Dennis, good morning and welcome. Affirmative action, positive discrimination, equality, inclusion, belonging, diversity. Jason Kane, good morning and welcome. But one that always gets under my skin, Rosie. One that always gets under my skin is the sleeping racism. They call it, what's they call it again? Oh God, it slipped me just now. The judge used it in there. That word was used regularly the other day in court. It will come back to me. But what it translates to is thought, learned, normalize racism. The word that is used here, it will come back to me. I don't know why it has slipped me, but my definition for that phrase is thought, learned, normalize racism. Oh God, what do they call it again? Want something where you're not unconscious bias, that bullshit piece of phrase. Unconscious bias. Learned. No, thought. Them teach you racism. You learned it. And because of that, it has become normalized. And then to dress up the piece of bullshit, because Britain wants to say we're not racist. We get it in this. Let me just call this thing again. I must have just saw that word that irritate me all the while. The sleeping racism. Let's call it that. They call it what we call typing. Let me just call the word like a while. Unconscious bias. OPPS official, good morning and welcome. Unconscious bias. So all of these little words and phrases we have been thrown, or the little sleeper cell to say, oh, we have equality and diversity laws. We have affirmative action, Jeanette, good morning. But do they actually work for us in the workplace? Unconscious bias. Whenever you hear that word, phrase, unconscious bias, think of thought, learned, normalize racism. Dorothy Elliott, good morning and welcome. Unconscious bias, they call it, is thought, learned, normalize racism. How does that work? The British society and British education system and the global uh, not by intention have used their education system, their media apparatus to create stigma, and black people for centuries. They've created stigma on black people for centuries. And because of that created stigma, a lot of white people or non-black people are in the mindset that we're animals, we're good for nothing, we're subhuman, we're the N-word because they don't like when you call out the real word unless you're doing it in a song to still keep that depressive, demonized system. They have given all of that. And all of that education through whether the education system out here, the media or whatever, Jamaican callers, how are you? Good morning. Because they have done all of that whitewashing through the media, through the education system, through their whatever system the Western society had, they use it to demonize us. Thus, generations of white people coming through the system really believe what they were taught. Some, not all of them, were niggas. We are good for nothing. We are so and so. To date, white people will walk around in a shop and shoplift openly and nobody no watch them. But we will walk in there with money to buy and everybody walk and buck up pound with just to make sure we're not stealing anything. So because they don't want to call it racism, learned thought, and normalize racism, then they translate it into their more actable phrase of what we call unconscious bias. But whenever you hear that phrase, always think of racism, taught, learned, and normalized. So this woman, Diane Abbott, the first black female MP in Britain, have been on the receiving end of brutal, systematic racism by the British institution, the British media, the British hierarchy, the British political right wing. In the early 2000s, there was an incident. Diane Abbott has always been advocating for changes in the way young black boys in Britain were educated, because the way the education system for young black students, especially young black men, can be a shambles. Style of education, speaking wise. Iceland Blackwood, good morning and welcome. And this woman, because she sent her son, she wasn't the only politician that was doing it. She was championing a cause, Delroy Henry. She was championing the cause for a restructuring and a relook at how the education system is designed around young black boys and how the education system should cater to the need of young black boys because they have a different learning style from white children and others. And because she was sending her oldest son to private school at the time, when Tony Blair, Sherry Blair, and the whole of them and the whole heap of other politicians were sending their children to private school. The racist British media drug this woman to no end. No matter, just the way you see they treat Kate, or you see they treat Meghan Markle. Diane Abbott get this type of drugging to the British media, the British society. But there's a new spark throughout the whole of last week of a race gate in England, Gloria Morris. Because the Tory party, the Conservative Party here, which is the equivalent of the Jamaica Labour Party, the economic crashing parties, the austerity-driven economic crashing parties, because that's what right-wing party does. A billionaire conservative donor said many things. Ian Cooks, good morning. Colin Richards, good morning. Said many things. This is the pervert. The pervert is a millionaire Tory donor. And he was accused last week of saying how much he hates Diane Abbott, and Diane Abbott should be shot. And seeing Diane Abbott on television wants to make him hate all black women. Everybody wants to whitewash this nonsense because he has apologized. He has apologized. But Dr. Scholler is a human rights lawyer and a social justice activist. I want you to listen to Dr. Scholler interview with a Sky anchor.
Good to have you with us this afternoon. We've had quite an ugly week of comments and claims and counterclaims this week, Dr. Scholler. And beyond the politics and what's going on in Westminster, Diane Abbott is saying this is reflective of Britain today. Do you think that despite a post-BLM, post-George Floyd era, we still have a way to go as far as racism in the UK is concerned?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that Diane Abbott is spot on. The reality that we see here playing out in the political arena is simply, symptomatic and reflective of British society. I need people to understand that Frank Hester is nothing new. He's the norm. There are Frank Hesters in our workplaces, in every industry that black people work in, and black women know this. There are Frank Hesters in schools that our children go to. We walk by them on the high street or take buses with them. Frank Hester is nothing new. And the reality for us, for many black women, is that what we are witnessing, which is the dehumanization, humiliation of Diane Abbott for political gain and the continued political exploitation of a racial trauma, is particularly triggering for black women. Understand that.
I want to pick up on that point, Dr. Scholler, because you're talking about racial trauma there, and there's clearly, given that you're saying people don't get it, that this is continuing, there's clearly a contingent that don't witness this, and there's a contingent, black women in particular, who are witnessing it, they're living it and they're feeling it. And a lot of black women I've spoken to this week is saying how this has really triggered their own experience and trauma.
Absolutely. And I think that the best way to describe this is understanding that black women in Britain are the most disrespected and, quite frankly, dehumanized in the society, and that it is normalized. So black women are not we're not demanding for a world that is unforgiving. No, we demand for a world where double standards and hypocrisy are not the rule of the day. We're demanding for a world where justice is not denied or delayed because of the color and of our skin or our gender. We're demanding for a society where accountability is not substituted for, forgiveness, where people go, oh no, you just forgive and everything else will be okay. That's not what we're asking about. We're saying that what is playing out right here is what we experience. It resonates so strongly. So I'll give you as an example. When Kemi Badenoch, our Black Minister of Equalities, rightly points out that Frank Hester's comments are racist, she goes on to whitewash his comments and validate him by saying that he has apologized and that's good enough, when we all know that he did not apologize for being racist. When you look at...
just to say, Kemi Badenoch's not here, obviously, to defend herself. We're running out of time, and I really want to squeeze in a few more questions. And I want to address that what you're saying is that this is a unique discrimination for Black women. It even has its own label, doesn't it? Misogynoir. How do we draw that... cross that bridge, really, between people who recognise it or the racial gaslighting of saying that it's just a joke, it's okay, it's just banter?
It starts with people understanding that misogynoir is a distinct expression of hate from racism. So Black women are experiencing intersecting inequalities and injustices because we embody multiple representations. So it's not good enough for people to just go, oh, that's just racism. No, it's not. It is racism and it is misogynoir. And this is what incites the violence and racial trauma against us. That is what we experience. When people belittle our experiences and act like it's nothing or just apologize, what they're doing is triggering that racial trauma, and they are validating the misogynoir against Black women. And what must happen...
So do you think that this conversation needs to happen more in the corridors of power in Westminster, for example, rather than the he said, she said, and what's happening with Diane Abbott this week?
I think it has to happen in every corridor of power. That's why I gave the example of Frank, there are Frank Hesters in every sphere of our society. Yes, this conversation should be happening in Parliament, but it needs to be happening in our schools, in our workplaces. We need to be able to address this imbalance, this injustice that intersect for Black women and other women. Let's understand other women of, from different backgrounds and races. It is important to recognize that people are experiencing intersecting inequalities and injustice, and we Black women deserve justice for every injustice we experience.
Dr. Shola Moshogbamimu, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us on Sky News today.
Nothing is ever going to change about Britain, really. Is it, Holder? Good morning, good morning, good morning, Delroy Henry, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Iselin Blackwood PJ, good morning. Who have I seen? Come on, hold on. Real Sweet, good morning. How are you? Elaine Turner, good morning. Good morning. Who else have I seen? Pamela McNeil, good morning and welcome. Good morning. Yes. No matter what little fancy word you see they throw at us, racism in British society is never going to change. It is what the British society and the British psyche is designed on and built around. The messages are clear to us as a people. It's time for us to get our shit together and create our systems to educate us, build Africa and the Caribbean. But my God, Earl Rankin, with our problem is our crooked politician and public officials that is really holding back our development. And this is why a lot of us who would want to come home is still in the white man country, JP, suffering racism and all sorts of discrimination, albeit because the justice system is a little better here, the healthcare system is better here, The infrastructure system is better here. You have transportation, can take you all sort of part of the country. Water not turn off you, light not turn off you, gas not turn off you. And the thing is, these people don't produce them sinting you. We hold them society up together and in place. But our society, who create all of these rich natural resources that allow Western society, to function so well. And our leaders sit down every day, promise, complain, and blame. I see a lot of people jumping on the parlor bandwagon. Can it look like parlor no fit get chastised? But I will come to parlor when I rob the judge. This is another hypocrite here. This other hypocrite plus the other criminal. About the other criminal there? What the criminal Andrew there? I think I had the both of them next to one another. Let me look for me queue. I think I did have the two criminal. Yes, I have the two criminal together. But these two criminals are planning to send a multitude of your children, Beulah, to their death. These two criminals are planning to send a multitude of your children to their death. Look at Westmoreland, Jamaica. Does Westmoreland not need an international support force, Shauna Simmet, to assist the Jamaica Constabulary Force with the escalating crime situation? The lack of control the police is displaying over the parish of Westmoreland. Do we not need an international force to assist in the dilemma that Jamaica is in? But let's listen to the latest development out of Haiti and the lies and skewed narrative and the promises that will never come to fruition.
State Department has announced a charter flight to fly American citizens out of Haiti as gang violence grips the nation. The situation for ordinary people remains dangerous, with police in the capital Port-au-Prince currently trying to arrest gang leader Jimmy Chirizier, known as Barbecue. Last week, the escalating violence forced the resignation of the Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who had been out of the country trying to organize the deployment of an international security force to stabilize the country. Well, joining me now is Jacqueline Charles. She's a Caribbean correspondent at the Miami Herald who has family living in Haiti. Jacqueline, thank you very much for joining us. We've seen reports of looting, half of hospitals in Port-au-Prince closed. It just looks like the situation's intensifying again. Just what is happening?
Yes, indeed. After a couple of days of relative calm in the capital, we are seeing that there is much more intensity. On Friday, the police was trying to access one of their bases for their specialized police units. And then you got it into a shootout with some of the gangs. And this continued into yesterday. This is a stronghold there. We're also hearing that private homes were also looted. We know that the gangs went back and attacked the seaport again. UNICEF is saying that they had a number of containers that have been looted. There's over 100 containers that, today sort of are in the control of gangs. We've been focused a lot about Port-au-Prince, but the reality is that the rest of the country will soon start to feel the effects of this, because if you cannot get fuel, if you cannot get potable water, you cannot get food, that really is going to drive this humanitarian crisis that Haiti was already in even deeper.
It just seems like such a desperate situation. So many people are trying to get out. With that US kind of announcement that you can get out from Cap-Haitian, which is in the north of the country, what are you hearing about that? Who has managed to leave the capital?
Well, as we speak, that flight is landing right now in Miami. People have not been able to leave the capital because all roads outside of the capital are blocked by gangs. So this will benefit individuals who are in the north of the country, who are not in the capital, but the ones who really need to get out are those that are in Port-au-Prince. And we do not know how that is going to happen. There are some helicopters that are flying, into the Dominican Republic, but they are very expensive. Although they quoted us, the Miami Herald, between $10,000 and $15,000. People are telling me that they're being quoted $80,000 for a helicopter ride.
And in Haiti, who could afford that? Only the very, very wealthy, when in a situation where lots of people are struggling. What do you know about the police operation to get the gang leader that lots of people have been talking about?
So Jimmy Cherizier, aka Barbecue, police put out a very brief statement yesterday acknowledging that there were a number of people who were mortally wounded, many of them gang members. They did not give us a number. They acknowledged that they got into a shootout with him and his armed gang members. We were all trying to figure out whether or not he himself has been wounded or if he escaped. I know that there was video that was going around because there was a belief that maybe his house had collapsed or something. I'm told by police sources that that was old video footage. But again, we know that the police can combat. The problem is that when they go in, they take control of an area. Their numbers just don't allow for them to, keep control, because then there's another crisis that's erupting someplace else. This is a country of 12 million people, a capital of over 4 million, and you have 9,000 police officers throughout the country and only a few hundred that are actually involved in these specialized units.
What do we know more about the leadership in the country? I've seen reports that say the list of nominees to establish some sort of transitional council has been forwarded to CARICOM, that's Caribbean leaders. What more do you know about the installation of a new government, possibly?
So we at the Miami Herald, we broke the story that the U.S. was forcing outgoing Prime Minister Ariel Henry to resign. Since then, we've seen a meeting in Jamaica last week to put together this presidential council, which is supposed to be 9 members. But given the activities of this week, the police chief, his house was set on fire. People are very nervous, and they're now really thinking secondly about whether or not they want to do this. We are waiting to see whether or not all those names will go in. Will we see some sort of a swearing in? Henry has announced that he will resign, but he has to wait until that council is installed and there's another prime minister to continue the continuity.
And just lastly, Jacqueline, I know that you have family there, and I just wondered how you are feeling and how they are coping with the situation at the moment.
This is a very stressful situation. Most of my family's in the north, but I do have family and friends in Port-au-Prince. I was there just about a month ago. We were planning to go again. It's frightening. You get the phone calls, you hear the gunshots in the background. People don't know when their houses are going to be looted or attacked, or when they're going to run out of basic supplies. And everybody's asking me, when is help going to arrive? And I can't tell them that, because right now the whole issue with the deployment, it isn't just because there is no sort of functioning government, but
Now, I want to ask the criminals some question. When these international support force that Jamaica and Kenya is pushing, Nugget Blake, good morning. When this international force go in, yes, we know that America pledge a whole heap of weapons, but what will be their mode of transport? America will give them the armored vehicle and security vehicle. I'm not just going to give them the normal police bang around them. Can I make we know if we not give them war zone material, or them are going to do normal policing? Because I know Jamaica police can't do shit. They ain't been in a situation like that before. So listen, this is all going to go down in a pool of blood. And I don't see Jamaican mothers. Claudette Robinson, good morning and welcome. I don't see Jamaican parent acting in outrage, given that the government is sending their children to their death, something they're not trained for, something that Jamaica shouldn't be approaching in the way they do. Because they know approaching with the Americans and the French leading it, it will never come to a resolution. Because the Haitians want all massa picking them out of them business. They are not bootlicking politicians like the rest of UNO. Don't get it twisted. The problem in Haiti is the bourgeoisie Haitians in Haiti and America. Jackie Grant, that is hell-bent and promoting America's influence and allowing America to control the rich, American France to control the rich resources of Haiti. France and America knew they cannot front what they want this time. Who them get? The two bootlickers. The two bootlickers, Andrew Holness and William Ruto. The two bootlickers who their head is up Western politicians' backside is willing to send your children to their death. But there's a difference here. The Easy Jerk world, big up and welcome, bro. There's a difference in Kenya here, though. We have a parliament and an opposition with balls. Unlike Mark Golden, where Kaka cut out him seed. I'll explain what that means to you. The whole of we know, say, when you know want your man dog to walk and breed everybody across the village, there's a man in your community who know how to take out the dog balls and castrate him. Few castrator did call Mas Kaka. So Kaka gone with golden balls. We no want golden do not need a secret. Because if golden come to power and I got in the hope a secret move, we don't know where going to happen behind closed doors. We want golden to come out publicly and champion hope of things. Yes, Mark Golden, you're voted in the House of Representatives and the Senate, Mark Golden. Why can't you use the Constitutional Court? What the Constitutional Court did for Mark Golden? Well, last suit did for. Look how ISAT loves Sue, but no, you make the Privy Council push you to get rid of ISAT. Or push you to disassociate yourself from ISAT. But right now, ISAT could not walk and sue narrative. Sue on the constitutionality of a lot of Andrew movements. But no Mark Golden, you become the lucky for Andrew. Ballsless Mark Golden. If your thing say you have no protection on global TV, we are going to tie a dead horse to you, Mark Golden. And if we have to tar you and feather you while the horse is dragging you, we will. Because what we will not do, Mark Golden, is go from corrupted to corrupteder. We will not go from corrupted to corrupteder. We want a leader, Mark Golden, who robustly deal with the issues and the affair that becomes at risk to our freedom and our democracy, Mark Golden, and we don't see much of that from you. Amazing Grace, good morning. We don't see that coming robustly from you. Have you gone back into your sleeper cell, Mr. Golden? Because I say, Andrew come out and a walk and a blame you. And Andrew come out and a put the blame upon previous governments. The sitting government, let me tell you something about governance. Dunce, Prime Minister, that you don't understand. The sitting government, the government of the day, had no excuse. Especially after 2 terms, especially after 8 years, the government of the day has no grace to come and tell us this has been so for 50 years. It doesn't take 50 years to fix. A lot of our ills that has not been touched for 50 years can be sorted within months or a couple of years. Yvonne Green, good morning and welcome. So this 2 criminal is sending your children to front Britain, America, and France influence in Haiti, all because they want their hands and the iridium in Haiti and the Haitian population. Don't forget anything out of it. Just like how them suck out with backside every day. And if you notice, Nigel Clark give them backside levy or what, them not have to pay. Marcia McKenzie, good morning. Nigel Clark give them all sorts. So them just have creep out with backside so. And not able to little money what we forget out of it. Nigel give them break. Take a break, man. When we ready for start thief more, uno can't start pay. Take a break. Look at our roads. Look at our health care. Look at the health crisis coming from attributed to our backside, Vivian Hamilton. First time seeing you. Good morning. Look at the health condition attributed to backside mining in our communities. Pauline Dixon. I don't want to miss anyone. Look at the devastating, depleting healthcare. And these multinationals are getting breaks on the levies they should be paying on backside. Never mind that they're paying. We're only getting, our backside is only been sold for about 1/3 or less than 1/3 of what others sold their backside for. And we still give them levy pan it. Pan look where we forget off of it. Jasmine Gainer rather. Good morning. Wayne Evans, good morning. But when I call the LGBT arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, they call themselves G2K something or other. But call the the LGBT arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, because I have a few questions to ask them, and I want to direct them how to ask the right questions and how to focus on the right galangin. But these criminals are sending your children to their death. I mean, I hear no. A Jamaica outrage that Andrew is open up a war front, a dispute front for the country. Nobody is in outrage. But me I go left Paula for last. Me I go left Paula and the judge for last. Marie Messenger. Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome. Call the LGBT arm of the Jamaica Labour Party. Altia Lacey, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining Global Television. Now, one PMP young man, Omar Newell, must make a statement to the tune of, after the Vibes Cartel ruling, something to the tune of, and that's why Paula, I must say that's why Paula did go after ISAT Buchanan. And this whole Zutopek is calling for the PNP young man to retract his statement because it's a reckless statement to make. Me go reaffirm it this morning. Paula went after Isaac because she thinks she could cripple him before the Privy Council. Do you want to contact me to retract my statement? What you need to do, I don't even remember what the blunder name. I did capture name out of it, make me see the people. But what he needs to be asking for is for Paula Llewellyn to be held accountable for her role she played in the disgraceful debacle we're seeing with our justice system. Rather than focusing, because this is what you Jamaica Labour Party people do. You try to spin and twist, but we are here. JBC, Big Yard, over CVM, we keep baby shower, wedding reception, ultrasound party, and we are here. We chatterbox, we the circuses, Patrick Evans, we are here. And people like me, lamentatious, me we stand on the argument long. Me we go back on the argument every day, Verna Adams. What you should be talking about, young man, is the embarrassing situation that Paula Llewellyn and Lennox Campbell has brought our justice system into. Talk about Paula Llewellyn's integrity to lead the department going forward. Talk about Paula Llewellyn's integrity in going to the appeals court to ask for a retrial, while on the Labour Party people have dunce and backwards. Do the right thing, Jamaica Labour Party, even when no one is looking. Do the right thing, Jamaica Labour Party, even when no one is looking. And this is what the justice system did not do in their procedural actions in the Vibes Cartel case. They thought no one was looking, and therefore they didn't have to do the right thing. The world was looking, Jamaica. The world is still looking on. Because the Privy Council, I hear a lot of people going on about the Privy Council, this and that, but I'll come to this. Let's go to the Prime Minister Chikinian criminality called Nibs. Back in the days when my brother Spanish would have called it Nibs, Nids or whatever them call it. But you remember in Nigel Clarke's budget presentation, I'm going to take a swing at Favel one day, but I'm not ready yet. You remember in Nigel Clarke's budget presentation, when he point up to which part and the wholeness did care peanut dread? Because that's the thing politicians always do in their budget. Them look for some, and this is not a disrespectful way, so one of our Jamaica phrase. They look for some dog in a deep distress, and they bring them to the budget presentation to make we poor people believe them have our interests at heart. But during the Minister of Finance debate presentation, you heard one of the giveaway was removing the guarantor. Removing the guarantor for student loan. Removing the guarantor for student loan. And he went on further in his argument to tell you that with a NIBS system, nobody will be able to hide from you. So these were open subliminal messaging. So it shouldn't be a surprise to us, because remember, the removal of the removal of guarantor from the student loan system will become effective this April, is it not? So it shouldn't be a surprise that the Prime Minister is hastily rolling out his national identity system in order to meet with that. Because your children, and it is the slow, what we would call the slow marching order. What slow marching order? Where are we going? Into a digital cashless society. Remember the Prime Minister won we last year, and then when we tackle him, he ta-ta-ta-ta and roll back. You saw the introduction of the cashless marching orders the other day in relation to the JUTC fare reduction, but you would only be entitled to that if you have a cashless card. Simone Bedford. Morning. It will be the same marching orders with the national identity system and the no requirement for guarantor for student loan. So therefore, a lot of other subliminal or open subliminal things will come, Sandra Ellis, that will fast, geared, and push us. The Prime Minister no longer have to talk about it to frighten you. What the Prime Minister do is wrap the patty, give you in a cocoa bread. And you're going to say, all right, patty in there, so me win yam, but me nah yam na dry cocoa bread. So the Prime Minister is wrapped in the digital move and the cashless society into fair discount from the JTUC, no requirement for guarantor for student loan, and all of these things will be attached to you having one of Andrew Holness digital ID card. So, uno see where the man go. Him na give uno in a one hand if him na get back something in the other hand. So, if uno want him student loan without guarantor, you have to sign up to NIDS. And if you don't sign up to NIDS, I wonder if you're going to get it. I don't think so, because Nigel tell you, say, with a NIDS system, you won't be able to hide. Hey, Kosham. I make me say to the prophet them, the prophet and the priestess them in passing. Mrs. Samano get message for Vibes Cartel. Nyam before sundown or evening time, before na go on bed, and we top have the whole heap of aching nightmare and the whole heap of frightened out on sleep at night time. Nyam early before na go on bed. Because when a prophet always come get message and vision from the dopey them we play with on at night time, or the analysis story one on dream about in our dream. Nyam before na go bed. Nyam early, bros. Good morning and welcome. Before una go on bed. So The Prime Minister is gearing you slowly into his digital cashless society. But because Jamaicans are into this sleepwalking, no form of pushing back anything, good God Almighty, Jamaican and I give with pain ahead. No can't depend on we over here Sophia do all of the pushback. Our pushback is here to wake your minds up so you can do the work on the ground there. Demonstrate, push back against your government, write your MP, summon your MP and council to come to the community and explain XYZ to you. Threaten them and tell them, say if them don't carry this issue to Parliament, them can't come back for your vote. Good God Almighty, Jamaican. This is how politics work. In a Britain, and so a whole heap of politicians get summoned with you, and this is why they might drag down Diane Abbott, because even though she's not an MP now, it's the Jewish lobby that is dragging down this woman, Veronica Gale. Because as long as you don't jump on the Israel bandwagon, the Jewish lobby want to pull you down. Andrew Holness become a part of the Jewish lobby because he can open his mouth. All if him see, them a battle with and beat with them. Them now open their mouth because our leader is not there in our interests. Be careful of Andrew Holness and the Nids. I keep on telling the Jamaicans, when you realize where this thing is going, it's going to be too late. We are warning for a long time. A control is coming. The dictatorship has started 2 years ago. A lot of us still don't recognize it yet. When you're looking at the Prime Minister office and you say, grab up the whole country, put in there, and Jamaicans don't see the danger to that. Not even Saddam Hussein never used to do them something there. Not even Saddam Hussein never used to do them something there where Andrew Holness do. As Jason Kane said, too late shall be on a cry, Jamaicans. Too late shall be on a cry. Because you don't seem to understand and see where it is going. The Prime Minister encircle you. The Prime Minister play between two dangerous rivals, the Americans and the Chinese. This is why you see, because him got too far with the Chinese, the American buck him up in a corner and say, if you don't lead, if you don't front the Haiti issue, if you bang around pan your mother ass crunchers. And that's why you see Andrew Holness have to lead this. He have to be puppeteered by the Americans span this, because the American them decide to shake him secret out of the bag, because the American them say if him don't roll back Miranda Raddock from the Chinese influence, they are going to come in and they are going to tear up Jamaica. Yes, Andrew Holness, the Americans told you that. So Andrew Holness can't back out of what the Americans them are push him in. Him just have to go headlong in a hit. But he's taking your children with him, Jamaica. He's taking the country with him, Jamaica. I want to sit down. Sit down and act like nothing happened. Anytime the British state is committing British troops to war is the most cantankerous thing in this country. Anytime the British state is committing British troops to war for any reason is the most cantankerous demonstration. Go back and look at the history of the Iraq War demonstration in Britain. I mean, see Mark Golding come out and a knock all pan and a roll out, cut out balls, Mark Golding. opportunistic, rich already man golden will tell we said, I am your tapanaris friend them, I go run with country. We don't want the tapanarism. If I see the barefoot boy come, they come turn tapanaris and see what happened to a country. From the barefoot sleep on floor boy, come there, come turn tapanaris. Seem drying, all wife, and tell wife, say, help me manage this blood clot, yeah. Help me manage this because I feel it two away. And no, just sit down so. No, just sit down so. I wait pan it for all blow.
Is it? Go look to 10 o'clock. What time is it? Let people business all. Oh God Almighty. And I mean.
Time for Jamaica people get up and start mind them business and stop mind America, Britain, and France business. In Britain, America, and France, and Canada, we are catch hell yeah. But we decide for turn in the hell, you know why? Because pain a belly hot. Been in an accident and stay upon roadside and bleed out. Police shot you. And police pick you up like a cow with them cut out the baby out. The cow teeth them. And throw you in a van back, so. And throw you in a van back, so. These are the reasons why a lot of our people die in trauma. Whether it's accident, stabbing, or shooting. A lot of them get bleed out before them get medical attention. First world economy of the Caribbean. As something like that them call it. The first world shithole country. More like it. Look at our hospitals. And then the Prime Minister want to have you believe the economy is doing so well that we're going to do so much. So, okay, the Prime Minister took 8 years to get the economy well, Mitchell. B.C. Smith, good morning and welcome. 8 years. But let's listen to some little different rambles and scrambles that the Prime Minister been making last week in an attempt to heal him wound and to divert from all the attention that is on his dismal failure at the moment. Let's listen to Prime Minister Crimpilin.
About the pain points that people experience with water and roads. Natalie, the road here wasn't bad since 2016. The bridge that you require across the river wasn't needed since 2016. On my way in, I heard a lady calling one of the radio stations, and she was talking about the conditions in Spanish Town. From I was born, the conditions in Spanish Town have been that way. And I don't intend to leave it like that. The conditions of the market, the selling on the roads, all of those problems have been there for a very long time. So the conversation which seems to start yesterday is an unfair and unrealistic conversation. Because if you are honest to yourselves and look at what the government has done, we are the only government, the only one that has made the investments in improving infrastructure and in dealing with the issues that affect people. The question must be then, so these things have been happening for so long. Why didn't they fix it when they had the authority to do it 20 years ago? Why? They couldn't do it. You know why they couldn't do it? Because they did not run the economy in such a way that they could find the resources to do it. Let's be fair.
Why are you angry? Why are you angry? That's not passion, that is anger. Why are you angry? If you have to explain this to us, why do you have to explain it in such anger, Prime Minister. Get your body language expert. That was not passion. That was anger and frustration because the voters at the poll the other day, it told me my message isn't getting through. Monica Horton, good morning to AmericanTV.com. Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome to you all. Why are you angry? Why are you angry? Because that wasn't passion. Imari, good morning and welcome. That wasn't passion, Prime Minister. Why are you angry? Is it because your message is just not cutting through? Is it because admittedly you said your base didn't come out fully for the election? Is that the frustration that is getting you angry, Prime Minister? But let's listen to more of the Prime Minister's waffle.
Is for the benefit of my Jamaican people who are complaining every day, but not seeing the transformation as to how that transformation is going to address the issues you complain about. If this plant were being done 20 years ago, it could have only been done by the government borrowing the money. In other words, to solve your water problem, to solve your road problem, the only way that those governments knew how to do it would have been to borrow. So while you may get improved water, you get more debt with it. And when you get more debt, inevitably, you must get more taxes. So you will get budgets coming with more taxes. Now, we have made a commitment that we're going to run the economy in such a way that we care about you, that we don't place a burden on you. And so we're going to find the creative ways of making these investments so that these investments...
I just stop it there to pick up on something. Note the Prime Minister didn't say to you, now that our economy is doing so well, let me get angry and rage like the Prime Minister. Now that our economy is doing so well, we have the policies and strategies designed to do it for you. Listen, the Prime Minister says we are going to look. Them have the economy started already, you know. And based on what he's saying, them not sort out, them not come up with a consensus of what them are going to feel. Listen back again.
No, we have made a commitment that we're going to run the economy in such a way that we care about you, that we don't place a burden on you. And so we're going to find the creative ways of making these investments so that these investments do not become a burden on you. We are doing this, and we have read a budget where there are no new taxes to fund any of the investments that we are making in infrastructure.
As long as they didn't get through in no new tax argument, Lanford Wills, son, and Paula Shelley, good morning and welcome. The Prime Minister and also Nigel Clark definitely, until they know say me can't explain it, them keeps this up. But both the Prime Minister and Nigel Clark definitely keep telling us that for the last 8 years, we have no new tax. No, no, say me dunce. Me not afraid to accept say me dunce. Me not know how to explain tax and them something there. But me know the Prime Minister and Nigel Clark is lying on the tax issue. Them say them not introduce no new tax over the last 8 years. Angela 48349. Good morning and welcome. How are you? For you, it's good afternoon. How are you? Earl, Alan, good evening and welcome. Them know, because them know say me dunce and me can't explain that part there. Them regularly say, but come on, Jamaica, we know nothing no go so say for 8 years in a row. they say they haven't taxed us. 8 years, no new tax. Them still run on the tax where them confine and them put up the tax threshold and them change it, sinting the threshold, the duty, the duty, tax duty threshold where if you buy anything from America, you would have to pay a duty pan. If it's over £50, them raise it to $100 US dollar. Why not $1,000 US dollar, Nigel Clark? Why not $1,000 US dollar? What's the $100 US dollar? If you look a piece of clothes, it's $100 US dollar, Nigel Clark. But them come up with them something you have to frighten away, like anything beneficial for we. Why not $1,000 US dollar? Why not you only start pay duty when you are bringing thing over $1,000 US dollar, Nigel Clark? Nothing that they're saying to us make any sense. Even though they're telling you that the economy is good and them are going to make the economy do for you, they still don't have the plan. Here the Prime Minister just tell you they don't have a plan what to do for you. But what I can tell you this much. They will be running around in the next 15 to 12 months. Annie Jones, good evening and welcome. Good morning. Trying to draw all kind of wool over your eye and to be the Peggy do-gooders. Let's listen to the final clip of ramble from the Prime Minister before I go salt parlor.
Announced that we're going to seek to have private sector involved in garbage collection, in municipal waste collection. There was people saying, oh, are we going to be charged? There are many different models in which we can incorporate the efficiency of private sector operations without the private sector directly interfacing with the public. So for the public, you will not be charged by an independent entity of the public service. No, the public service maintains the forward face of the service delivery, but in the background, the private sector operates. So the access for which people worry about, that access will be maintained. You won't have to worry about having to negotiate with a private person for the provision of a public. No, that's not the intention. What we want to do is to get the innovation, the good management, the good business practices of private sector involved in the production of the service. The government continues to be the front end of the distribution of the service. So the public won't have to worry. What the public will see is an improvement in service. What the government gets is a reduction in its cost of operation.
Right. There you have the lying lips, which don't seem to be abominable to the Seventh-day Adventist Church of which he's a part of, nor is it abominable to the religious sect of Jamaica who turn a blind eye to the crime and corruption of this Prime Minister and Governor General, who is a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. If you all remember, the Governor General, the crooked one, was the president of the East Jamaica Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church when he uses the church money. Food no offering, where ladies saw want to come buy light and cheer put in our church. But I would suggest to ladies, sir, sell some of your assets. Sell some of your dance hall asset, ladies, sir, and invest it in a God. You make enough for the people them already when it come to dance hall. Sell some of them and invest in your God, ladies, sir. For me set Pastor Rickett Spawn. But Here we come to the beating stick part of it now. Paula Llewellyn, not unfairly, but rightly so, have received a lot of stick throughout the whole Vybz Cartel issue. But what about the one who had the ultimate power in the whole miscarriage and tampering of justice in the Vybz Cartel trial? And it's no other than what is to be now known as the disgrace, Justice Lennox, Injustice Lennox Campbell. Justice Lennox Campbell was a trial judge in Cartel's case. The word justice in front of his name means he is in the judicial hierarchy. He's not referred to as a magistrate. He's not referred to as a judge. He's not referred to as a lay judge, a district judge. He's referred to as a justice. Justices are higher up in the pecking order when it comes to experience and all of what comes with jurisprudence. Jean-Pierre, good morning and welcome. Lennox Campbell was the one who got sole power over that courtroom. Ubuntu, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome. Justice Campbell is the one that was in charge. Next to Justice Campbell is also Jeremy Taylor, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, which is to be thrown in the lake of fire as well, because all of them are a bunch of incompetent, corrupt. Maybe they were paid or maybe they took instructions from higher up in order to carry out such grave injustices. A judge in any courtroom is the bad boy, the gang leader in the courtroom. And my territory this. And me rule yasso. And me rule yasso. What me say go in yasso. So make we apply fairness. In the whole cartel debacle, this disgraceful thug, Justice Lennox Campbell, is to receive more heat than Paula Llewellyn. Paula Llewellyn is your Director of Public Prosecution, going up against Vybz Cartel and his co-accused then in an adversarial legal system, pushing for the case to continue is what a lot of prosecutors would do, but not all of them. The justice who would be seen as or is to be more experienced than both the prosecutor and the defense ought to listen to arguments and submission from both of them, but ought to say to Paula Llewellyn on that day, where in the judicial landscape have you ever heard of this bullshit where one continue with such open, flagrant juror tampering? That was Lennox Campbell's call, not Paula Llewellyn. Not Paula Llewellyn. Paula Llewellyn is entitled to say to Justice Campbell, I'm comfortable continuing with the case. But it was Justice Campbell shamble. It was the disgrace, Justice Shamble, that ought to have run Paula Llewellyn out of our courtroom on that day. Justice Campbell and Paula Llewellyn asleep, while Justice Campbell have to go Paula Llewellyn. Remember Dr. Nesbitt said, I be a young gangster man, jack up Paula Llewellyn, and Paula Llewellyn let them off a gun case and criminal case. And I mean, so a Dr. Nesbitt, one of them labor right friends, say it. So me have to wonder, I know. Me have to wonder, Justice Campbell there, jack up Paula, why him have to breach the fair hearing process, breach the constitutional right of the defendant in order to suit Paula's need. When nobody now have to make a submission to an experienced judge to say, what you are opening here, Justice. And you look on the appeal court, and Brian Sykes, the Chief Justice, is to be under fire for this also, because Brian Sykes is their managers. Brian Sykes is the one who sits at the top of our judicial pecking chain. And going forward in this cartel matter, Brian Sykes must strike the whole mother shoddery down. The reason is, even if the appeal court, when answering the question remitted to them, approve the tampered, telecommunication evidence, which was one of the strongest piece of the evidence they went to trial on in the Vybz Cartel case, along with Chou's statement. What if Chou is not willing to go back to court? One. And if the tampered evidence is to be thrown out, they can't go back for a retrial because they don't have anything else. However, if the Jamaican appeal court approved the tampered telecommunication evidence to pass the constitutional bar to be remitted for a new trial, then this matter will come right back to the Privy Council again if there's a conviction to deal with the particular issue. And this is why the Privy Council cleverly only ruled on the jury tampering issue, because if the Jamaican court wants a retrial, the tampered telecommunication evidence is going to be the dancing fiddle in front of the Privy Council.
Time is it? Go look at 10 o'clock. What time is it? Let people business all. Oh God Almighty.
So when the Prime Minister walk over the wall of mine, other people business, there's so much in our country to sort it out. But all of them who are run now and are trying to block the loophole. No, it wasn't a loophole. Cartel them case no quash pan a loophole. Or no tell no lie pan loophole. The judge, Lennox Campbell, should have, ought to have, killed that trial on the final day and reappointed for a new hearing. Then the argument in the Privy Council, the jury tampering would be out of it. The argument in the Privy Council, if that was done, would have been on Sigshare, good evening and welcome, would have been on the issue of the tampered telecommunications evidence. So it wasn't a loophole. It's Justice Campbell was incompetent why cartel case was quashed. It wasn't a loophole in the law. It was plain, open incompetency and corruption. Who paid you, Justice Campbell? Was there any directive coming from a Peter Bunting, Minister of National Security, in making sure that Vybz Kartel was put away? Why Justice Campbell ignored the process of natural justice once the jury tampering was so plain and open in front of the court, and never even sought to give a natural justice direction to the jurors? So no, it wasn't a loophole in the law that allowed the trial to quash. The loophole that they're speaking about, however, you heard the Privy Council explained it in their judgment, where in the British system, if jury tampering or misconduct is going on and you have to destroy the entire panel of jurors, then the trial can continue. You can continue what is called a bench trial. A bench trial is a judge-only trial. Jamaica doesn't have that law. That is what they're calling the loophole. That did not stop the Justice Campbell from applying what was appropriate and open to him then, which was discharging the entire panel of jury and restarting the trial. Justice Campbell rather went to look at the price of justice, how much it's going to cost the state here to embark on a new trial. But look how much the state have wasted in appeal to the Jamaican Supreme Court, appeal to the Jamaican, to the British Privy Council. It's been struck down and remitted to you. And now Paula wants to have us believe that she's going for a retrial. And what evidence, though, Miss Llewellyn? What are the evidence? Is Mr. Chow willing to come back to court as a witness? And if Mr. Chow is willing to come back to court as a witness, Miss Llewellyn, are you still, or will you still be depending on the telecommunications evidence? Because in answering the question, the Jamaican Supreme Court will have to pay close attention to how the Privy Council has written their judgment. And I hear a lot of people saying, the Privy Council this cartel, the Privy Council start cartel. A lot of you don't understand the law. The law is issue-centered and issue-driven. The law struck a balance between two parties. Right. I want to answer this question because the double jeopardy question, I see it's been double jeopardy is being talked about and floated around since Thursday. A quashing of a conviction means the thing never happened. That's it out. An acquittal is much of a different thing. Is the court or the jurors found you not guilty, they've acquitted you, you don't have a case to answer. Now, when you're acquitted, you cannot be retried for that same thing. That is where the double jeopardy comes in. Double jeopardy only applies to acquittal. It doesn't apply to a quash conviction, because the when a conviction is quashed, it's mean you pick up the whole thing and you throw it away as if it never exists. The Privy Council did not assess Cartel's case based on the evidence. Yes, they will have to look on the overall evidence in the case, but they were asked to look at the issue of how the Jamaican process got to the conviction. The Privy Council ruled that it wasn't a fair process. There's another word I want to clear up in the legal landscape and in the media landscape, because even mainstream media and mainstream journalists, I hear using this word. The Privy Council upheld Vybz Cartel appeal. That's a lie, or that's a misinformation. Allowed is the correct phrase. Let me tell you how upheld is used in the legal terminology. If the state of Jamaica won the appeal, because in the appeal in the Jamaica Supreme Court, the state of Jamaica won the appeal. So if they won in the Privy Council last week, then that is where the phrase, the Privy Council upheld the appeal, would come from. Where upheld is used is where the Privy Council or the Supreme Court agree with the ruling coming from the court below it. So they uphold it or upheld. It is upheld by them. So I hear, and this is a lot been used in mainstream media, the Privy Council upheld Vybz Cartel appeal. No, that's the wrong phrase. It's allowed Vybz Cartel appeal. Upheld is when the higher court agrees with the ruling that a lower court made. And as to the double jeopardy applies to acquittal, not the quashing of a conviction. So when a conviction is quashed, you can be retried. If you have been acquitted, rather be by a judge or a jury, you cannot be retried because you're protected by double jeopardy there. So I hope those two confusion clear it up for a lot of people. Would Cartel receive a fair trial? Well, this would this would be the biggest argument in the not the Privy Council, the Jamaican Appeal Court, that is to answer the question. This will be one of the biggest contention between both legal team, because Paula's team will be arguing that he can receive a fair trial by selecting a new jury pool. His defense team will be asking, given the gravity and the publicity of the case and his international stardom and how the case was popularly reported, one, will you be able to get a jury that is fair and balanced, that will make their decision? Antonia, how are you? You come late, man. That will make a decision based on the argument they hear, rather than you may select a panel of jury that hate Cartel and music and what it stands for, and think that Cartel really killed Lizard and ought to be in prison. So you would say that jury come with a preconceived decision based on your perception of him. You come already thinking him guilty. So hearing the evidence would make a difference for you. You're still going to find him guilty. Could they also, on the hand, select a panel of jury that is Gaza camp, that is a secret Gaza camp, and decide, say, you know what, Vybz Cartel has gone through enough, sod the whole of this thing, then mess it up already, so. Claudia Hanks, good evening and welcome. So therefore, this will be the heavily contested part to say. On that, it is highly unlikely that you will find a panel of jurors that will give a fair decision. Along with that, if the appeal court accept that, if the argument, if Chow decided not to come back to court to testify, which he doesn't have to do if he don't want to, and if the thingy cannot pass the constitutional bar, the tampered telecommunications evidence, then there won't be a retrial. What needs to be done now is the Jamaican justice system, in the disgraceful mess they have created, is carry out this process expeditedly or expeditiously. Meaning, do it, the Supreme Court should answer the question as fast as possible can. The ruling was done Thursday, or the publications are out. I'm sure the Privy Council would have sent their documentations off from either Thursday or anytime from today before the end of this week to the Jamaican Supreme Court. Once they get that paperwork, then they should carry out that process expeditiously, as soon as, in law we say, practicable, possible. As soon as it is practicable to do so, meaning as soon as you get the directives from the Privy Council, as soon as you observe the paperwork, you move forward with the application to answer the question in order. If there isn't enough evidence or clear evidence to go for a retrial, one in public interest, or that we have enough to secure a conviction, then the whole thing must come to a result. It is enough disgraceful for the country already. And I'm sure if we go back for a retrial and he is convicted with the tampered evidence, we're going to be back in the Privy Council again. So if Justice Campbell made his decision then that I have to continue with a tainted juror because it's going to be too expensive to do a retrial, 10 years on, look how much money we waste. And 10 years on, Paula Llewellyn wants to take us back into what will be a more expensive retrial now. So you see the effort of our justice system. But how much politicians and public officials you hear calling for the resignation of Paula Llewellyn? Mark Golden seed cut out. Parker cut out Mark Golden bars. Mark Golden cannot even come out here and tell us if he has confidence in the Director of Public Prosecution. Mark Golden cannot come out here and tell us if he have confidence. Sorry, I need some money. I'm going to drink coffee so I keep burping. Not even as much as to come out and tell us, Mark Golden, if he has confidence. Me don't see beat and teach from man and look like she busy. Me no see Simpson, me no see cousin Jamie, me no see cousin Myrna. But man into the whole honor, me know more time when I listen and not talk. Dan Campbell, good morning, how you doing? I know you're all listening. Juliana Sabrine over on Facebook, good morning and welcome. Ron Wanders, good morning and welcome. Norma Ferguson, good morning and welcome. But you know, everything can just go pear-shaped and source us up in our country. Most of us are not paying attention. Most of us don't care. Most of us are not engaged. most of us think that we don't have the power to do anything about this situation we find ourselves in as a failed state called Jamaica. If we continue to act hopeless, that's what we are going to continue to be, hopeless. Thank you, Antonia. Even when Antonia is upon the move, I'm still listening. I hope you all like the, oh God, man. On a drop on a finger more upon the like button, please. Drop on a finger upon the like button. If you're not drop on a finger there yet. You know, the little likes and shares is very much welcomed. But our lack of engagement is sending a strong signal to the government that you can do an awful lot and get away with it. You can even tamper with justice openly. Because when the trial judge messed up, and this went to the Supreme Court of Jamaica, it should have been solved there. But one could ask themselves, were they under instruction from those higher up in politics? Were they under instruction from the deep state to make sure cartel don't work, and thereby Lennox Lewis could turn a blind eye to the law, and then them come tell we now, Tina Moore, good morning. Them run come tell we now, say it was a loophole in the law. No, it wasn't a loophole in the law. Don't mix up the Privy Council. The Privy Council never says so. And don't draw that conclusion from what the Privy Council said. The Privy Council said they sympathize with the judge because that final juror issue was on the last day of the trial. But you also heard the judge said, not giving a proper direction was the death of the conviction. When he said that was fatal to the conviction, that was the death of the conviction when incompetent, corrupt Lennox Campbell Shamble refused to deal with the issue fair and justly. When they look at the price of a new trial rather than collapsing a tainted jury pool and start over again. And then the same people wants to come and convince you, the state of Jamaica, that after the Privy Council has quashed it and said, dunce, corrupt, baka world, you all messed it up. Go and get it right. If you don't understand the law, how judges speak, they're basically saying, if you think he has committed the offense and you have enough evidence to convict him, do it right. But what we will not allow is for you to stitch it up, botch it up, and make it up, and then allow this to become precedent, not only in Jamaica, but across the Commonwealth. Does some of these dunce Jamaica, when we hear out there a defend parlor, understand the consequences of allowing a judgment like that to stand? Do you understand the broader implication for the people of Jamaica? And do you understand, Sharon Powell, the broader implication for the Commonwealth with such a judgment? It just couldn't stand. The Jamaican state messed up, and the Privy Council said, it's your problem, fix it. A time for you to come off a breast milk now and do it right, and everything gonna have to run, come here, come bad away. We chain on to with Tapanaris universities and our judicial colleges and all sort of ongoing professional education. Why uno can't get it right? We up here get it right. So don't bash the Privy Council. Bash your corrupt, incompetent justice system where politicians can dictate to as to who get prosecuted and who got prison and who. Don't bash the Privy Council. I mean, hear a lot of people talk about Privy Council, this cartel. Do you know the importance of quashing a conviction? Do you know the importance of quashing a conviction? It protects you, not cartel. The quashing of cartel conviction protect you, the Jamaican people, from the police who cooked up the evidence, who tampered with the evidence, the prosecutor who prosecuted you on a tampered evidence, the judge who allowed the tampered evidence to be admitted as evidence, phalanx. The judge who was under duty to collapse the trial the minute the jury pool was tainted. That was what you were protected from, Jamaicans. Not cartel. You, the Jamaican, especially on a young man, where they can creep up under the constitutionally violated state of emergency laws, implementations. That provide you some protection. See the bigger picture, Jamaicans, and stop looking at the point of your finger. See the bigger picture. When you see the bigger picture when it is political, partisan. See the bigger picture when it's about your generational rights. That is more important than the political, partisan, bigger picture. Because your prime minister will be telling you a lot of lies in his budget on Thursday. The prime minister will be telling you a lot of lies and making a lot of promises to you in the next 12 to 15 months. But as he has not fulfilled any of them over the last 8 years, I would hold my breath. The prime minister still, even though he tells you about his thriving economy, he still doesn't have a plan how the thriving economy up there is going to implement policies to look after your affairs down here. They still haven't got it yet. They're telling you that they're looking at ways. Hey, hallelujah. But I want to thank you all for being here this afternoon. Thank you all for being here with us on Global Television. That was just to catch up with some of the continuous ongoing issues in our spheres. But we're coming back for Andrew later, and we're coming back for Mark Golden, because Mark Golden, you've dropped the ball. If you think relaxing melodies, good morning and welcome. This case will be a case study for many. It will be. I'm sure it's been introduced in law schools starting this week. You will see it in the textbook by September. The textbook will be updated for the new version that will be coming out for September. And I'm sure it will be taught in the when you talk the English legal system, the unit we do in law called depends on which university is teaching it. It can come under a different name, but means the same thing. Kenny Lee Linder, good morning and welcome. English Systems and Judicial Reasoning. where that is where you are taught about how the entire legal system works. Some books you would see it says the legal system, but it's a compilation of legal system and judicial prudence together, because judges speaking are very tongue-twisted, long-lamented reasoning. So it will be in law school. It will be referred to in law school already. It will be in the textbook by September. Juliet Shakes, good morning and welcome. Well, thank you all for being here. If you're a new subscriber, if you're new to Global TV, please follow, make sure you subscribe to our platform. Global TV have 3 different programs. Ignore the no show. I'm just explaining to you the time slots. Global TV Junior, Decent, good evening and welcome. Good morning. Global TV run 3 different programs throughout the day. We're not always on point and on time because you know the business, the research, and there's many things going on. But the 3 different programs goes as follows. At a Glance, which is the current program we're on now. Then you have Drive Time London. And the final program is the People's Point of View. Now, At a Glance generally starts at 12 noon UK time or 7 a.m. Eastern time. The Drive Time London program starts at 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Also, the final program, which is the People's Point of View, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and 11 p.m. UK time, rather, sorry for the confusion, and 6 p.m. Eastern time. So follow Global Television on all our platforms, and make sure you're following Global Television on Facebook also, because that is where we would do reposting of news articles and things like that. So to follow us to see what happens through the day or what we might put out from the news or whatever, then that mainly goes on over on our Facebook page. But we are on all platforms as Global Television. Wherever the platform is, Global Television is there. So make sure you subscribe, you follow, and you turn your notification bell on, so whenever we put out a broadcast, you are one that will be alerted. Thank you very much for being here with us this morning, and we hope to see you back later, right here on Global Television, when we decide who we may tie a horse on and pull them along down the road with us. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.